Hello, hello, and welcome to Into the MoTaverse, a podcast by the Ministry of Testing. Today we are here with Megan Ozanne. She is currently a QA team lead. She's been going for it in the MoTaverse, which has been really cool in the past few months. Previously, she was on a Leading with Quality conversation, and she's generally been contributing in many other ways as well. But yeah, hello, Megan. It's good to have you back.
Hi, Rosie. Thanks for having me back. It's good to be here.
That's all right. We were kind of exploring and having a little chat before we came on, and the topic that we've got penciled in is maintaining test fundamentals at speed. And I think this is a really relevant topic, something that probably a lot of us are struggling with. I know that Emma Armstrong, that I spoke to on a previous podcast, kind of highlighted it from an engineering manager's perspective. But yeah, when it comes to test fundamentals at speed, to me, it kind of brings up so many complexities, so many challenges, typically around AI and chaos and just everything moving so fast. How is it showing up for you?
Yeah, so very much in the same way. Like I was telling you earlier, a few months ago, I was reading Winnie the Pooh with my son, and there was a page in it where they were planning how to trap a Heffalump, and Pooh was explaining away how he was going to do it, and then Piglet just suddenly butted into the conversation and said, "Why? Why is the Heffalump going to fall into the trap?" And it's just really got me thinking, because it very much seems to me that is how we're working at the moment. Like the the conversations are running away with us, and we are not taking the time to stop and ask why. Where are we going with that conversation? And like you, the feeling that you get, like everything is just moving so fast. We're asking testers to automate everything. We're shifting everything left with AI coming in. Developers are working quicker than they've ever worked before, and I've even got product owners that I've worked with in the past that are now using AI to build up their ACs. So their AI is basically coming at us from all angles, and how we as testers supposed to keep up with that, and not just keep up with it, but keep up with it in the way that makes us stand out, that we can still maintain that quality and still stop and pause and think about the questions that we need to be asking, because at the moment it feels like we're moving so fast, we're not getting that chance to breathe and ask why. It's pretty simple what Piglet asked, and it moved the conversation in a different direction. So that's what we need to stop and think about.
It almost feels therapeutic talking about Pooh. It's like, wouldn't it be wonderful to live in that world of
Yeah.
calmness and slowness and time to think? But that's gone. I feel like it's gone, and it's crazy that it's like, even a couple of years ago or even a year ago. I just feel like it's so much faster now, and even like I've said it like on previous episodes or just in general, I look back at the year 2019 and kind of wish that we were back then. It was like pre-pandemic and pre-AI, all of that, and like now it's just like, oh wow, it's just non-stop exhausting. I guess, like, from your perspective, how is it showing up? Because from what I feel or what I've been noticing in conversations is that my gut is like the whole hype is around AI and code, and like people, the code is moving fast, but the gap is that other people aren't being given a chance to catch up or
Yep.
to reflect or to think about how best to do our work, right? And all the hype is around the dev side of it. Is like, oh, we can ship code so fast, but it's not really giving consideration to the whole other aspect of building a product, right? And it's almost like, again, it's like worshipping coders or devs as that's what's the priority for building a product. But there's definitely pushback, right? There's challenges, or like things uh, starting to crack, maybe, or people are definitely starting to speak out about like
Yeah.
how is it? Wait, stop! Can we just like breathe for a second? So yeah, I guess like from your perspective, what's happening? How is it showing up for you and in your daily work?
It's really interesting because it's kind of where devs are now able to ship stuff so fast. We can't. We are in an environment where we're trying to do automation first, and we can't keep up with the automation, let alone the manual testing that we need to do to verify everything. So testing is kind of shifting onto people with less experience that don't quite know how to do it. So then you're potentially opening yourself up to other gaps if you're rushing testing, or if you're relying on other people to do testing because you're trying to move faster than you've got enough people to move, really, if that makes sense how I've explained it. But it just feels like we're trying, it's the whole thing, isn't it, trying to run before you can walk. We are moving at a speed where we don't have the quality people to keep up with it, because we've still got to do all of our manual verification, we've got to do all our checks. And I think so. A key skill to me, for a quality person, is having that curiosity and asking questions. And like you said, with devs moving at the speed that AI is allowing them to move, we are not giving quality professionals the time to ask questions. We need to.
Right.
Where in our process are we stopping to breathe to say, why are we doing this? How does it work? How does it interact with the rest of the product that we are building?
Yeah.
And that's what I am trying to work really hard at the moment, is trying to build that space where people can ask questions and understand what is being worked on, let alone test it, because obviously that still needs doing as well.
Yeah. And is it really so much different from what you were doing before? Is it because of the adoption of AI that like everything has really been pushed, or are there multiple changes happening, do you think?
I think it is just the speed at what people are expected to move at now. And I don't, it's not necessarily all that the devs are is because they're using AI, but the devs are expected to move quicker. So it's
Yeah.
not just testing that's expected to move quicker, it's the devs that are expected to move quicker, product owners are expected to move quicker. It's everybody. And I think everybody is feeling the pinch because we are all moving faster than we can actually think about what we're doing.
Yeah. And I wonder, like, where does it, at least in your instance, like, where does the pressure of moving faster come from? Is it literally because of like AI, because you can, or like what? I know we can move faster, right?
Yeah,
Because like,
yeah,
well, at least the code can move faster. Um,
yeah.
but I'm wondering, like, just because we can, does it mean we have to initially, or is this
That's
part of like self pressure where you're putting on yourselves, or has someone decided like, oh, we've got AI now, so we have to move quicker?
Yeah. So that's interesting. So I agree with what you said. It kind of feels like because we can, we should. And I think it's because everyone is talking about AI at the moment, and everyone is talking about how much faster we can work with it. It kind of makes me feel that everyone is putting that pressure on themselves, and everyone's putting that pressure on their team. So even if they don't mean to, it's that mindset that everyone is shifting to now. You're seeing all those posts on LinkedIn, all over the news, whatever community you're a member of, you are seeing the posts about how much quicker AI is making you. And so all of a sudden, in your mind, you'll feel, okay, I'm being left behind, I'm being too slow. Look how much faster everyone is moving. So whether it be dev, test, whoever, you know, whether it's coming down from the top, I think that's just that mentality of how we're shifting, that we need to be faster and faster and faster to keep up with the market, and we're building that pressure on ourselves.
Yeah, there's a term I came across recently, called the announcement economy, um, which is when you were like mentioning like all the posts here, there, and everywhere, LinkedIn and stuff, like people are talking
Yeah.
about it, or what you can do, or how cool XYZ is, but it's just people talking, and I do wonder, like, this pressure like that you talk about, is it this like hype bubble kind of thing? Is it like
Yeah.
is it really the truth, or what is the truth anymore? And it's almost becoming like impossible to know like what is the truth, and like we're getting like, I wouldn't say distracted, but like again maybe it's the pressure, right? It's like, oh,
Yeah.
they're doing this, they're getting better at this, they're using more AI in this, we should too. But then we forget about our own circumstances of, or does it actually make sense for us and where we are now, or is our business actually okay moving at the pace
Yeah.
we're moving? And I think it's scary, but it's important as well, right? It's like what is this crazy world we're living in?
Yeah. It makes me think back to so all the like women's fashion magazines and stuff. I know where we've got this big movement to try and move away from it now, but for many years everyone was just seeing all these beautiful slim ladies. They're just looking perfect and all the time, these perfect clothes, perfect makeup, perfect hair, and everybody is like, or I'm just not good enough. I don't look like that. I'm, and it just reminds me, it's the same kind of thing we're doing. We're seeing all these shiny, pretty companies going, look how fast we're moving with AI.
Yeah,
And we're all of a sudden feeling ourselves, well, I'm not good enough. I'm not moving fast enough, and we're trying to keep up. So, that's exactly what it reminds me of, what you've just been
yeah,
talking about.
it's true, isn't it? It's like
Yeah.
yeah, this self-esteem, this perfectionist,
Yeah.
you know, um, and I guess like, what has it looked like to move away from that women's movement to accept
Yep.
reality, or accept uniqueness and authenticity or quirkiness, or accept our own situations, and maybe, I don't know, maybe there's something in that to take away as like, yeah, what have we learned from that we can
Yeah.
apply to our
Yeah.
technology products?
I think there's a few things we can take away from that. It's quite interesting when you dive into the psyche behind it all and all the big movements they've been trying to readjust.
Yeah, I mean, I often tap in. Well, at the moment, like, I'm quite interested in the idea of systems thinking, right? And it's just like,
Yep.
with the thing is like, at the end of the day, people can shout best practices or tell you how things should be, but at the end of the day, you're working in an environment, and you have to consider the whole picture, right? And
Yep.
your own individual circumstances, or your company's circumstances. So maybe that brings us a bit back to earth with things, but I guess, like, from your perspective, so developers are throwing code over to you, and you're leading a team. What kind of pressures are you seeing on a day-to-day basis, or what kind of challenges do you find yourself uh, being faced with?
Yeah. So I think it's the pressures being put on the team because they're expected to move at a certain speed when they're testing a complex product, and it's not realistic to move at the speed that, say, higher up people want them to move at. Um, and then it's just trying to find where can you get your resources from. I'm going off on a bit of a tangent now. Um, so I need to come back to your question that you originally asked me. I'd say the pressures that I'm seeing in a team are impacting kind of people's mental health, I'd say, because it's this pressure of, you know, we need to do this, we need to do this, we need to do this, and we were supposed to have all of that done yesterday. There's only one of me to do the work. How do I do it? And I'd say that's what it comes down to. And it's kind of like, are we pushing our testers or our quality professionals towards burnout because we're asking too much of them?
Yeah,
Um,
And I guess,
and those kind of
yeah, and I guess there's also the idea of like the test fundamentals. Are they really working on
yep,
the right things? Do they know they're working on the right things? And if they're newer to the industry, how aware are they of like the basic fundamentals of what it takes to test something, or think about quality for the whole product?
yeah. So, so that brings me back to what we were discussing earlier. So I've been doing a range of discussions with junior testers at the moment. I'm really into educating junior testers and building them up and helping them and supporting them where I can. And it's really interesting because of the current situation we're in. There's so many junior testers that have amazing automation skills. They're playing around with AI. They're doing all the right stuff. But then you pose a very generic testing question around how they would manually test something, or if somebody presented them these acceptance criteria, how would they handle it? And they don't know the questions. I've spoken to some junior testers that have never manually tested product. I've had some that they haven't looked at ACs. They just get told what to automate or what AI should be doing, and they go and do that. So that's my main concern, is because we're pushing things to move faster, we're not educating the younger generation coming through on what makes a good tester or a good quality professional excellent in their career. And I'm worried that we're going to be losing that quality aspect going forwards into the future.
And what kind of backgrounds do they come from? Are they like computer science grads, or
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. So they're well educated
yeah,
people. They're not random people like me that just went through courses for a bit and then came and tested. But yeah, fresh out of uni,
yeah.
doing well.
It's cool though. It's cool to see people that are so technical and I guess comfortable technically.
Yeah,
But the catch up with it is, or I guess the things that can be slower to learn are the quality skills, or the
yep,
understanding the product and the knowledge of the product and all the intricacies that kind of surround that, I guess. Do you have a plan to teach them, or what, especially with, I guess, the younger generation? What how do you think we can teach them better? Like, if we're all feeling this pressure to learn and to do things. Like, I mean, I remember like starting out MOT, and like when we first started doing conferences, we were doing 3-day training courses or full day training courses, like before a conference and stuff like that. And I just feel like it's harder and harder to actually pull people away for like, 2 days. Even a day is like hard, but then like this,
yeah,
3-day training courses or 3-day conferences. I'm just like, I can't do that length these days. It just feels like it's too much time out at the office when there's so much going on. So for me, it's like those days are kind of like, yeah, it's a big ask to pull people away. So it's almost like we have to rethink like how we're helping people build their skills. Um, which we're obviously trying to do in the MoTaverse, but I'm curious, like, how can we do that, like, when things are moving so quickly, and it's almost like you have to like inject it in little
yeah.
bits.
So that's so one of when I first started my career in quality, I had a great mentor, and he was very much like, you need to bake your practices into everyday testing. So you need to bake security testing into your everyday testing. You need to bake accessibility into everyday testing. And, it gave me a very good foothold going forward. So, how do I approach quality? Okay, if it's not in there every day, it's not going to be in there. And that is often my approach. And it's not just affecting junior testers, it's affecting all level of testers. I'm seeing it affecting multiple people on different levels. And it's trying to, as you said, people don't have time to go away and do these long conferences and courses, and it's the same as well with just their everyday. You know, they don't have time to jump into a 30-minute meeting to talk to you about how to do testing. It's so it's really trying to work with them and saying, right, and having them shadow you sometimes. Like if you are in a meeting with that person, make sure that you are asking questions and leading by example and showing them this is what we should be doing, so they can see that in action. It's having conversations with them in the background, you know, whether it be like a 5-minute quick call or Slack messages, Teams messages, you know, just working with them to understand how they work best. You know, like some people like going back to the original point that got me thinking of asking the question why. Not everyone is confident of asking the question why. So it's understanding how that person communicates well and helping them use that format to ask questions. So I've had various complaints, like from various different roles, various different people. I've had people come back to me and say, this person never speaks up in a meeting. You know, I'm worried they're not doing their bit. And you go and have a conversation, you find out there's a reason why that person doesn't feel confident to speak up.
Yeah.
And you say, okay, well, look, this person isn't ever going to speak up in a meeting. Let's just change and give them a different format, a different channel to communicate down. And as soon as you do that, you're opening the world up for this person that wasn't able to partake in conversations before. So it's not just doing the training with them and going to conferences like you say, but it's working with them to find out how they work best, because everyone is unique and everyone is different, and they might need a different platform to get their voice heard. So that's kind of what it comes down to. That's what I've been working on recently. Like I said, I want to build a framework and like to support people in maintaining test fundamentals at speed, because we are going so fast. But at the moment, it is just trying to find platforms to support people. At the moment is where I'm going, and trying to make their voice heard in the way that they're comfortable working.
Yeah. It's so important, right? And I think the world has changed a lot from that perspective, and everyone will be at the like different stages of just accepting that the world is changing, not just from an AI perspective, but like you say, the human perspective of how people best work. And I know that I would never have spoken up in a meeting early on in my career. It's like it was like, you know, those kind of things were always really, really hard for me. And so it's like, you know, I guess like with neurodiversity and stuff like that, but you know, there's all sorts of reasons around those kind of things that people can thrive in their own kind of way, and it's just trying to figure out. It's like, you know, it's like exactly. what are they good at, and tap into that, and how can we tap into the strengths and what excites people, and stuff like that. As you were saying, bacon testing in. I was thinking of something like A.D. Stokes said. I think it's part of the SQUEC cert, but don't quote me on that. The software quality engineering cert that we're doing. But he said something like, "The North Star of quality engineering is continuous quality," which I thought was interesting, and that kind of stuck with me. And I was thinking, like, well, baking testing in is like continuous quality. So that, you know, maybe that's just another way of saying it, right? with a bacon analogy. But you know, I guess there's many aspects to like figure out how to bake testing into or quality into products these days, and maybe there's better ways to change things. And it almost makes me think, like, another thing I read was like someone, I can't. Yeah, it was just a random article. Just like someone said that the heuristics no longer relate anymore because everything's changed. So we have to create our own new models, our own new way of thinking it in the world today. So I think that also kind of relates as well, that we have to be creative, I guess, in solutions. And to me, that's kind of fun. I'm kind of here for that. I think, like, I feel like it's an opportunity to get rid of some old ways of doing things, or ways that things
Yep.
haven't worked. So I wonder, does that apply to you? Are you having fun along the way?
Yeah, I'm having fun. I mean, I'm in this job because I love a challenge, right? It would be boring if we were doing the same things the same way all the time. And I think from my personal perspective, the only way we make things better is by changing how we're doing things. If we do exactly the same all the time, we're not improving. Our product isn't getting better. We're not improving as individuals. We need to make those big difficult decisions to change. It's stepping out of your
Yeah,
comfort zone and then you improve, right? And it's trying to look at the product and how you're baking quality in as well. How are you testing this? How are you testing that? Why are you doing those things? And then looking at how you can change it to make it better. And that's what I really enjoy doing. That's where I come in and build things, upset everybody by changing what we're doing. But yeah, that's how I thrive. So
can you think of like any examples of like how that's like showing up recently, of like, has anything changed, or you know?
in changing processes, or are we looking at baking in testing?
6 or 7, I don't know. It's kind of all related.
It's all related, yeah. Um, I'm I'm always making changes. I'm always updating things. So it's difficult to get a recent example because we
Yeah,
never stop moving. Like you say, you've got a living document. I say we've got a living QA team. They are always changing and always improving themselves. But there's recent. I'd say there's recent examples where we've ran tests for a certain amount of time, and then we've gone, well, actually, if we ran those tests in a slightly different way, they'd actually get us better results. So yes, they're fine for what they do, but they're not working as effectively as they can and not helping us find as many holes in our product as they can. So let's make this little tweak. And now all of a sudden, we've given ourselves loads of work to do because we found loads more bugs because we've changed how we're running something. Um, so it's good. We haven't had to change a test. We haven't had to do anything. It's literally a 2-second change to just go, let's just run it like this instead. And it's yeah, you can't stand still. You can't stop looking at how you can change things.
yeah,
And I think as we're moving faster, those sort of tweaks are what you need to keep up with the pace of things.
yeah. And the tweaks are like the iterations, the system, like,
Yeah,
keeping an eye on
exactly.
things. And I guess, like, I wonder, like, was it like that a year ago or 2 years ago? Or, can you think back to points in times where we've actually, because that's how I like to look at things, is that I look back like a year ago, as a way to communicate back to the team. And quite often I'm like, do you all realize that we weren't doing this a year ago, and now we're doing it, and it's just baked in
Yeah,
again. Going back to the baked in
yeah.
analogy.
So I think I mentioned to you a while ago. I think that yeah, it must have been ages ago. I mentioned this because it's something that I'm still working on. I built out a maturity model for the QA team because we've got lots of stuff we want to change, and we know where we want to end up, and we know where we are now. So we have regular meetings every 3 months to go, okay, where does everyone think we are on our maturity model? So it's really good to be able to look back and say, this is where we are. These are all the things we've changed. And look, we are now so much closer to our end goal. And by having it set out like that, it's very easy for everyone to see what we need to achieve, and everybody can come to the meeting with fresh ideas about how do we get there. Because I think I had a conversation with Stu Day, um, about how is the best way to make changes to a team, and he was like, well, you need to look at it from the people perspective, the process perspective, the system perspective and stuff. So I've now got that built into my maturity model, so then I can ask the team, okay, for you to get to here, what do we need from the people perspective? And it just makes those conversations very powerful, and we can just start implementing those little changes as we go along. So it doesn't feel like we're doing much at a time, but when we go back in 3 months and look back at what we've done and where we are now, it's like, yeah, it's a massive, and everyone can feel a sense of achievement then. So
I think it's just so easy to forget, right? Especially when you're in it, and the stress of every day, and you kind of forget like the progress that you have made.
yep.
I wonder, like, do other people in your company feel the same way? Specifically, the non-devs, like product people or design people, or you know.
Everybody in the company is singing the praises of the QA team about where
Okay.
we were a year ago and where we are now. Everybody in the company can see it. And it does help I shout a lot. I am very vocal, but it's really good. It's not just the QA team that can reflect and say, look what we've done. It is noticeable across the
Yeah.
whole company and across from customers as well. Seeing it, it's
Well,
really, really good. And I think going back to maintaining test fundamentals of speed, maybe that's one of the things that helps us by having the chance to reflect and, just realign ourselves with this is where we need to be and keep our focus on
and
that.
when they're singing your praises, what are they saying? Oh,
Oh, you don't want me to start bragging about some of the things they say.
yeah, why not? I'm curious from the fact of like why what are they seeing that is good? It's like why are they seeing it? Apart from maybe you shouting about it, it's like what are
Yeah.
they feeling that they feel is good progress?
Yeah, so they're just in general, like the general messages are just the release processes go smoother, they're taking less time, customers are having higher confidence in the product, just general stuff like that. You know, test coverage and those kind of metrics that they're seeing come through. It's just quality across the product is improving it, and people are noticing it and seeing it that use the product
That's pretty
daily.
cool,
So
right?
it's
Yeah.
yeah, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
How do you think other people in the organization are stressed out about the changes as well? Like, if QA is feeling like the speed, what are other team members doing about the speed of things? Do you have conversations with them about like how to either de-stress or just generally how to improve things as a team rather than as a silo?
Yeah. So the conversations I have with other teams in the company are always obviously from a quality perspective. So I'm not necessarily going to a meeting with devs and going, "Hi devs, I know you're under a lot of pressure. Let's have a conversation about how we can help ease some of this pressure, because we are all moving so fast." So I wouldn't say that I specifically have conversations with them around that. It's always as a whole, how can we fix this issue that we are feeling pressure to move at speed? So what can we do? What can you do? What can this team over here do? It's trying to going back to the systems thinking. All my conversations I have with people are trying to look at it as a whole and not just how do we help
Yeah.
one siloed team, if you see what I mean. So it's trying to bring everybody in.
Has anyone ever asked the question is like, what if we slow down? Is that even?
I'm always suggesting we do that. That's, you know, it's the common thing, isn't it? Slow down to
Yeah,
speed up. That's
yeah.
yeah, that would be a novel day. We all get to slow
Do
down,
you think
right?
we'll look back on this day today and laugh at how slow we did things? Because in 2 or 3 years' time,
Wow.
it'll be like we'll be doing everything will be changed again, and it'll be so much faster.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I know that you said in the last year, you've seen things speed up. I've seen things speed up in the last few months. I think we are just getting quicker and quicker and quicker. And the speed, I think I saw somebody, or I might have heard it in a podcast, somebody stating that Claude has written 90% of
Hmm.
its own code. So if we've got the AIs now writing their own code as well as all the product code, it's like where are we going to stop? Like, and you've got all these agentic test runners as well, which are now building their own tests, fixing their own tests and stuff. It's kind of like the human in the loop with all the paper being dubbed on them in the cartoon you mentioned. That is just the human in the loop now. Like as we keep moving faster and we've got everybody using agentic tools in their pipelines and stuff, we are just going to be having data dumped on us of, okay, this is our product that we built, but now it's written its own code, it's over here somewhere with its own test running. What am I doing? Kind of thing. It's it's going to get so fast, I think.
Yeah, it's crazy because someone else, the episode before this actually, is a CTO person, and they've a relatively small company and a team of 6 devs, and like December last year they were like using 20% AI coding stuff, and then now it's like 3 months later and they're like at 80%. Like they've managed, and it wasn't even there. They didn't have that like specific target or anything, but they've just within 3 months, if they thought, oh, we kind of have to start doing this, and they started, and now it's like 80%. So it's what do you do? Ooh, yeah. And like as you say, like the whole human in the loop, it's like our whole job changes, right? And what does it, I guess, have you had any thoughts around what that means for the testing fundamentals? Like in some instances, like we might not end up learning some of the testing fundamentals because AI can just do that better. So why even try? But it's like, how much can you trust it? But also, how much can you trust humans when they do manual testing? I think manual.
Yeah.
I don't like using that word, but human testing, I guess, is like even when you do it yourself, that's unreliable, so to speak. Is that you can get distracted. I get distracted very easily. So it's like, how can you guarantee that a test that is done is done? You can't really, but I guess with the change in times, I think the problems will be different.
I think it goes back to the whole check versus test argument that we had many years ago when we started building automation. I don't know if you were a part of that grand debate, but it was all about how automation tests shouldn't be called automated tests because they're not testing. They are checking. They are checking what has been built. They are checking what we've written. Testing is a human activity because we're thinking about what we're doing. We're looking for different paths through the product. We are testing. Computers can only check. So as things get quicker, like you said, like you have with like the agentic testing pipelines and stuff, where AI is writing its own test for a product. Oh, it goes, there's a broken test. I'm going to fix that one as well. I'm going to write all these tests. And the human, all the quality person is doing at that point is checking the PRs. And you've now got AI also checking PRs now. So where do you need the human in the loop in that if we're not even checking PRs? But if we are going with the check versus testing argument, is all that automation that the AI is building, is that actually testing? I saw a brilliant post from somebody. I have no idea. I can't remember who it was, unfortunately. But I saw a great post saying that as we're moving into the age of AI and things are speeding up, quality professionals are the only people that are going to be left with a job, because we get paid to think, we get paid to be curious, we get paid to look at things from different angles that a machine might not necessarily look at things. So I don't see us going anywhere, but at the same time, I see it's going to be a difficult conversation to have with companies when everything is being built by AI, to say, hang on, You still need us to do some manual verification for you. I don't know how that conversation is going to go down. Probably not very well, but I don't think if a company wants to succeed, they can't get rid of that verification step. I mean,
Yeah, because another conversation I've had recently is around like the idea of exploratory testing. Like, if agents are doing the exploratory testing, is it really exploratory testing, or do we need to come up with a new name for what this type of exploratory type testing is, if it's like supported by agents? Um, and I guess there's all these kind of questions, or perhaps there's practices that will arise, like with pair, there's pair programming. So is it like pair engineering or pair prompting kind of stuff that these practices kind of start to become the future rather than test cases of the past, right? It's like, will test cases just be something that is goes in the history books, so to speak, because to a certain extent, like, the tests will still exist, but not in the traditional format of test cases that many of us are used to. There's definitely like a lot of questions around that, but like the whole checking and testing stuff, like, do programmers argue about whether coding is still coding, even if AI is coding it? I mean, I'm not sure if that. I mean, I don't know what to say to that. Right? It's like, I guess, like, I like to think of solutions rather than I guess not trying to get sucked down like debating on terms. But yeah, I'm not sure if developers are arguing whether just because they use AI they're not coding. But they're prompting, or it's called context engineering now, right? So like, terminology is changing, right? Which I guess is interesting, that everything is changing. I guess that's the challenge of it all, is like trying to make sense of the systems and how it is changing. But maybe it's the case, because like another thing that I read recently is like, well, actually, product managers, a lot of quality people do what product managers and should be doing but aren't doing. So maybe product managers will take on more of a role of being more careful about the products they ship, or the thing, what's supposed to be built. So maybe, I guess from that angle, it'd be super interesting to speak to product managers from a futuristic perspective of
yep.
where they see things going, because yeah, just like, maybe they should be speaking more with customers more than they could be, instead of quality people who often end up taking on that amongst other roles. Like, I know quite a few quality people who are doing a bit of customer support and quality, because it kind of comes hand in hand. But maybe for product type managers, maybe they should be getting their hands a bit dirtier to understand the product better, and where the problems lie. It's interesting, right?
Yeah, really interesting. And saying about the product managers and stuff. I know a lot of people are moving into a quality coaching role rather than a quality or testing role, and it's kind of there to educate developers how to build quality products, how to write good ACs and stuff like that. So we're already seeing that shift, aren't we, of testing not being sat with the quality professionals within the team. As companies are trying to speed up, as they're trying to reduce their number of testers, increase the number of developers and stuff, so they can keep up. We're seeing people just guide development and guide quality processes now, rather than being that, I don't like the term gatekeeper, but being that one at the end that picks it all up.
I guess it's also like the whole DevOps side of things as well, and how that blends in
Yeah.
with things. But yeah, it's definitely interesting. Is there any? I know we can't predict into the future, and I guess just to kind of wrap up on this. Um, I mean, like I'm like planning MotaCon at the moment, and yeah, for the first time this year, I'm looking at the submissions, and the biggest question on my mind is this topic going to be relevant in 6 months' time? Because I have no idea,
That's true.
right?
Yeah.
So like I didn't feel this last year, but I definitely feel it this year. I was like, oh, this is interesting, and to plan, yeah, basically 6 months' time is MotaCon, and I'm not, yeah, I just don't know what's going to be relevant at that time or what's going to be the hot thing. But yeah, can we plan more than 6 months ahead of time? I don't know, but have you got any short-term plans of how you're gonna?
I don't know that
What's your next thing that you're gonna
that
try to do? Should we just focus on the next thing, because like anything more than that is like it's gonna change.
yeah, it just sounds like you've got a tough time on your hands at the moment trying to plan for 6 months in advance. Like I said, and like you said as well, like we've seen things speed up in the last 3 months, let alone 6 months. So this is moving quickly. And no real solid plans for me in the next 3 months. It's just trying to do what everyone else is doing at the moment. It's just trying to keep up, keeping our eyes on what's the next thing that's being implemented, trying to keep your eye on all the communities, all the events that are going on, the videos and stuff that people are posting to show this is how we're using AI, this is how we're working now. It is just trying to move at the same speed as everybody else, and it may be that catch-22 that we're putting that pressure on ourselves to move quickly, because in our perception other people are moving quickly and they are moving faster than us. But yeah, there's my plans are just to keep rolling with it and see where we end up. It's quite exciting, as I've spoken to a lot of people that are very excited at the moment because things
Yeah,
have never moved this quickly, and it's
yeah.
where's it going to happen, where's it going to end.
It's definitely
It's gonna
interesting and, like you say, exciting. And like I've never been so energized. I'm not really doing a lot of AI stuff, but just like the general pace of things. We're more prepping for AI potentially, at least from a community perspective. But yeah, it's both exciting but also stressful, and um, I guess like
Yep.
something to maybe take away and to be mindful of is just like talking more about it. I guess is healthy. Just
Yep.
there's no like real solutions here, uh, but it's more a case of this is coming up, and like that pattern of it coming up, like we're spotting it, and like I can. Yeah, it's funny, like with these podcasts and conversations, how when we have when we start to have these conversations, and we can start to connect them to different stories that are happening and different people that are having similar challenges, and that's what I notice a lot. It's like, oh, so and so also mentioned the same thing, but we're only aware of it because it came up in conversation, right? So hopefully, I guess
Yep.
that's why it's good to talk, because these things come up, and then other people can hopefully take note of it, or take note of it, as I like to say, um, and realize that
Yep.
they don't have to go at super speed. It's there might be other ways as well, but if others are struggling, then at least we can struggle together and laugh
Yeah.
crazily along the way.
And that's why the MoTaverse is so good, right? Because you're bringing everybody together that's
Yeah,
going through all of this at the same time,
we're
and we
trying, we're
can
trying,
share those
and I just think
stories.
it's so important just to be honest about these things and get to the reality of things, rather than hype things up, as many other people do. It's like let's be real. Let's understand what's happening, and and laugh laugh crazily along the way. Oh yeah, yeah. Thank you, Megan. It's been great to catch up again. Um, uh, no problem. I'll see
No
you in the
worries. Thank
waterverse.
you, Rosie.
Bye.
See you in the MoTaverse.